Hello, everyone. Jonathan Saar here with the JuvoHub Podcast. Welcome to our show. Thank you for being here. This is part 2 of my 8-part series on learning theory. As I proclaimed, exclaimed, disclaimed, whatever the claim word is in my first episode, I am not an expert on this, but I am absolutely super passionate about the topic, just understanding the science behind learning. There's plenty of experts out there. In this episode, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to provide some references. And if you have feedback on the topic, please share it on YouTube, post it on the blog, reach out to me on LinkedIn. If you want to come on the show and talk about it, that'd be great. That'd be awesome. Why I wanted to do this series, I've never done it on this show before. So I wanted to get it all out in 8 sessions, probably could be 50. Last time we talked about andragogy. So that was in the previous episode. Go check that out. Today, I guess this is a very controversial topic, learning styles or learning preferences. So just a lot of back and forth comments from different professionals on whether or not having a fundamental understanding of learning styles or learning preferences actually does any good to the student. And from the research, I see both sides of the coin. So first of all, though, it's good for you to understand, well, what does that mean? What is a learning style? What is a learning preference? And what are the challenges if you try to tailor your content based on a perceived notion that your audience has a particular learning style or learning preference? So a couple of the articles that I'm highlighting, one is from Yale and another one is from, Frontiers in Psychology. So just 2 articles, just scratching the surface. There's probably a ton more. Interestingly enough, they both acknowledge that everyone does have their own unique learning styles, their own unique learning preferences. But the question still is like, how much does that have a factor in desired outcome? So desired outcome is if I change my training, my education session based on an assessment of who my audience is. And this is where it gets controversial, because you've heard me say before the benefits of understanding your target audience. That is such a big scope. Now it's getting a little bit more finite with unique learning styles, unique learning preferences. Like, what is it that you enjoy as far as your personal way of receiving education? So I would love your feedback on it. I'm going to kind of leave it at that, because I don't want this to come across as me giving my own personal opinion on whether or not you should pay attention to it or not. I do stand by that you should know your target audience and know who they are. The challenge is like, if you do have a large audience, and the large audience to me is 2 or more, you're going to have all different types of learning styles. So it's impossible to create a training module of any kind and be able to cater to every single person. However, with an understanding of all of those different styles that are out there, it's going to impel you as an educator to take a closer look at the way you're delivering your training session, the way that you're delivering your content. And to me, that's way more of the takeaway than does it really affect the retention of the student and looking at those statistics. To me, the benefit is just the exercise of truly understanding how the brain works in the minimal capacity that we actually have to do that, and the impact it has on your content and delivering it to your target audience. So part 2 of this series, if you have any research you'd like to share or a differing opinion, this is definitely one of those posts that it welcomes it. Like, what research have you seen? Any case studies perhaps that you have performed, witnessed, whatever you want to call it. Learning styles and learning preferences. So I'll put a couple, like I said, I'll put a couple of those articles in the show notes. Enjoy them. And yeah, I would love your feedback. So if you're rethinking how you approach learner diversity, research is good. Educate oneself on this topic. That's where learning leads. That's what JuvoHub Podcast is all about. Be flexible. Don't be rigid. Thank you, everyone. See you next time.